Could second-team All-Pro wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk be a Washington Commander before the start of the 2024 season? Welcome into the Commanders Report. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we'll talk about what Brandon Aiyuk had to tell new Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels, what it would cost to get Brandon Aiyuk on the Commanders roster, and whether or not it is worth it for this team to pay that price. But before we get into it, make sure you guys have clicked that subscribe button and joined our family, because if something happens, if a blockbuster trade for Brandon Aiyuk or anybody else happens, or if they sign a free agent like a Stephon Gilmore, we are going to be getting you guys a video, breaking news right here on the channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now to never miss a big story. So let's start here with Brandon Aiyuk, who called up new Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels, who, by the way, they went to school together. And he said that the 49ers don't want him anymore. And to be exact here, this is what he told Daniels via FaceTime on TikTok earlier today. They said, "They don't want me back, I swear." And this is coming just hours after Jeremy Fowler from ESPN came out with his latest report on the 49ers and Aiyuk's contract negotiations stalling out weeks before training camp begins. This is what Jeremy had to say about their contract negotiations. They're going to see what happens over the next 6 weeks leading into training camp. The 49ers want Aiyuk long-term in the fold, but so far they have not been willing to show that they're going to meet the market of wide receiver, which we're seeing these massive numbers. Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit with $30 million, Justin Jefferson well above that at $35. Aiyuk believes he's a top guy, and so something's got to give, and so he's worked himself into a top 10 receiver conversation. We'll see. Not a lot of momentum right now. Not a lot of optimism. Now, the question begs, and a lot of people are asking this question, why did he call Jayden Daniels? Does he want Jayden to get on the horn with GM Adam Peters here and try to get him to Washington? Certainly possible here, but probably the main reason is because Brandon Aiyuk and Jayden Daniels are boys, going back to their Arizona State days, which is, a long time ago, but, they trained together in the offseason. They're actually going to be training together over the next several weeks and during this period between mandatory minicamp and training camp. So these are two guys that talk frequently. They have done these TikTok-type videos before. If you remember, they had a story like this breakout right before the draft saying, like, get ready for fireworks or something like that. But now it's another one here, but this one seems to be a little bit less, cryptic. Brandon just straight up says, they don't want me anymore, and the fact that he's calling Jayden Daniels could pose the question here, should the Washington Commanders give San Francisco a call here to see what it will cost to get Brandon Aiyuk? Because they obviously have established chemistry. They work out together in the offseason. They're former teammates. They're really good friends. You want Jayden Daniels to feel as comfortable as possible in his first year in the National Football League, and Brandon Aiyuk is available via trade. Wouldn't that be something the Commanders should look into? Well, when it comes to a trade here, what I will say that is in Washington's favor is that San Francisco has pretty little leverage if Aiyuk straight up demands a trade. All right, if he says, I'm not playing for the 49ers this year, you guys can either keep me on your roster and I won't play, or you can trade me elsewhere. San Francisco's really only choice is to trade him away. And if other teams know that, the price is going to be driven down on his overall value. So listen, man, I think what it's going to take, because there's going to be other teams that are going to be vying for Aiyuk's services. The Pittsburgh Steelers is one that really comes to mind. The New Orleans Saints might be another one that comes to mind. There's going to be teams that want Brandon Aiyuk's services, and there's going to be a bidding war. So it's going to take, I think, probably at least 2 straight second-round draft picks here, 2025 and 2026. So let me know down there in the comments section if this is something you would entertain if you were GM Adam Peters. Would you accept this trade? 2 straight second-round draft picks for a second-team All-Pro receiver that needs a brand-new contract. Type A for accept or D for decline. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second, I'll tell you about our sponsor today at Fanatics. But while I'm doing that and I'm talking about Fanatics and their Jayden Daniels jerseys, go ahead, get down there in the comments section and give me an A or a D. And now with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/Daniels to get an officially licensed Jayden Daniels Commanders jersey in your closet today. And you know what, guys? If you were planning on getting a Jayden Daniels jersey already, and you want to help out the channel, this is your opportunity to do so, because when you use our link, chatsports.com/Daniels, I'll put that link in the comments and description of today's show. Click that link, make a purchase, and Fanatics is going to send us part of the proceeds. So if you want to help out the channel here and then also get yourself a brand new Jayden Daniels jersey, this is your chance to do so. Go to chatsports.com/Daniels to take care of that Jayden Daniels jersey off your list today. Okay, now let's get into what I think about this potential trade idea, and I would at least think about it if I am GM Adam Peters. I do have some reservations, and I'll get to those here in just a second. But Brandon Aiyuk is a legit number one receiver in the National Football League, guys, and he's still very young, only 26 years old. He's bigger than people kind of think that he is. Some people think he's like 5'10 and like 180 pounds. He's kind of a smaller guy. No, he's over 200 pounds. He's 6 foot, and he's fully built out. He's one of the best run blockers in the National Football League. Of course, second-team All-Pro last year, and he's really known for his route running. Might be the best overall route runner in football, if not for sure top 5. And he just had a fantastic season. He was the top dog in the receiving room there in San Francisco last year. And something that I hear about Aiyuk is, he's only had 1 year of All-Pro production. Is that really worth $30 million? Well, first of all, it was worth it for Amon-Ra St. Brown. But anyway, you look at the production here, and he's had 2 seasons over 1,000 yards receiving. He had more touchdowns in 2022 than he even did in 2023 in his All-Pro season. So this is somebody that has absolutely played at an All-Pro level here for these last 2 years. And even before that, he was still putting up pretty big numbers overall as a receiver. So this guy is definitely legit. He's a number one receiver. And if this Commanders brought him in, he would be their number one receiver. I mean, he has that established chemistry with Jayden Daniels. And, of course, he's got that route running acumen. I have full confidence that Cliff Kingsbury could use him in some creative ways. And then Terry McLaurin, who is a number one receiver in his own right, I think he would be the 1B to Brandon Aiyuk's 1A just because of the chemistry factor that Aiyuk has with Daniels. But they're both number one receivers. And that would certainly give Daniels all the weaponry he needs to have success early on in his career. Then you get Jahan Dotson as your number 3 receiver. I mean, that guy's a first-round pick. I mean, this is one of the more talented wide receiver rooms in football if you're able to pull off that trade. Now, let's get to the downside here, and that's going to be the money, all right, and what the money says about how you're going to be able to build this team throughout the next couple of seasons. Because Brandon Aiyuk is expected to be asking for at least $30 million per season, all right? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown got that number. Justin Jefferson got up to 35. I don't think Brandon is quite expecting to get Jefferson kind of money, but I know that he wants to get at least where Amon-Ra St. Brown got this offseason. And according to multiple reports at this point, the 49ers are only offering Aiyuk $26 million per season, way off that mark. So that's why things are starting to get pessimistic. That's why both sides seem to be stalled in these negotiations. And the thing about Washington is that they can afford it. Technically, they can afford it because they have a lot of cap space still at their disposal despite signing the most players in free agency this year. And, they definitely could bring on Brandon, but it would take a lot of the available cap space, not only for this season, but also for the next couple of seasons as well when you're trying to build that offensive line, when you're trying to build that cornerback room. And listen, man, when it comes to the wide receiver position, it's not like this is the biggest need that the Commanders need to get done and they need to fill this hole, right? Terry McLaurin is a legit number 1 receiver. Jahan Dotson, I think, could be a very good number 2 receiver if you just keep it the way it is right now. They don't need Brandon Aiyuk. What they need is offensive line help. What they need is cornerback help. What they need is to really fill out the rest of these roster holes and make sure that this entire roster is filled out nicely for Jayden Daniels moving forward. So listen, if you can make this trade and you can pay Brandon what he wants and you can still address offensive line and cornerback in the future, if not this year, then go ahead and do it. But if this trade is going to hamper your ability to protect Jayden Daniels in the future and then also give him a proper secondary on the other side of the ball, then this is something I'm not willing to do because wide receiver is not a huge need for this football team. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Is Brandon Aiyuk worth $30+ million per season as a wide receiver? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section to let me know what you think. That'll be it for today's show. Commanders fans, thank you so much for all of your support making it to the end of today's show. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now because we got more Commanders content coming your way throughout the week here. It's going to be an awesome week of Commanders news and rumors leading up to training camp, so make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already.